We're back. That's right. We're back. You know it. You know it. You know me. I know you. Can you see a little bit of green around me? I don't know why that's there, baby. Hey, this is Blind Knowledge Entertainment. My name is Joey B. I'm so glad to be here with you. If you know anything about me yet, it's probably that I talk too much. And that's the truth, man. You know, I love to converse. I love to just dialogue. I love to ask questions, dude. I love to ask questions. I love it when my green screen works right and I don't look like I'm fuzzing through the universe. Look at that. That's pretty trippy. You see that? That's funky. We'll get that fixed. But just what's happening here. Maybe that's just the way it's going to be. Let me tell you about blind knowledge. Blind knowledge is about, well, it's a lot about, well, there's two different pitches on that. Maybe even a lot, because it's all the same thing. It's an open-ended question. There's unknown information, there's misinformation, there's disinformation. It's about knowing about information and knowledge and people and experiences that's out there in the world, that you don't know about yet, that I don't know about yet. Maybe it's because we just haven't experienced them ourselves, or maybe it's just because we couldn't see them. Will be, some of us are. We got to get on that though. We're a digital content community and we're a digital content network. That's what we're doing. Right now, we host 19 different podcasts of all shapes and sizes, all different colors, all topics, all races, all genders, and all countries, which is weird. And maybe not all. I shouldn't say all. That was, let's just make sure that no one takes out of context because that was exaggerated a little bit. But hopefully someday we will be in all of that and just be a part of society and a helpful influence. And if we're not positive and helpful, then we shouldn't be in that role at all. Digital content is where it's at. We have 19 podcasts. Like I said, a lot of different topics, a lot of good stuff. We're all informative and we are entertaining. And enough from me, because like I told you at the beginning, man, I talk too much. I'm gonna give my man some intro music here. It's like coming into the spectrum. Let me tell you about him, man. Akarsh Vinod. He is founder and CEO of the digital age, man. He's doing so great. I'm just pumped for him. It's just going to be such a good experience. And he's the founder and CEO of Dio Technologies, Inc. We're working with them with Dio and speakers and Dio speakers and seamless audio, man. Welcome to the show. Welcome and thank you for being here. And how do we actually pronounce your first name?
Well, first off, I'm very happy to be here, and second off, it's actually Akarsh Vinod. Not a lot of people get that on first try, so I don't fault you at all. But yeah, Akarsh Vinod.
I appreciate that because I should be faulted on that. We've talked many times. Names are my worst. I am the worst with names. I come in last place with those, so I apologize.
Oh,
But
don't
thank
worry
you for
about it. I'm bad with names too, so don't even worry about it.
cool. Well, that's a good start. We're translating well. For those that don't know, myself and my friend here, we are both entrepreneurs. He is right now on a way bigger scale than me, and we met through wherever we met through. We became connected, and that's the important part because you got to work well together as an entrepreneur, wouldn't you say? It's a networking
Oh
thing.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing I've learned since becoming an entrepreneur is anytime you meet anyone else who is or was an entrepreneur, there's like an immediate connection there. They're just like, oh, me too. Like, hey, like we totally get the kind of challenges and struggles and anxiety that, is all part of the journey. And so there's
Anxiety.
just something there. So
Mm. People don't talk about that, man. People don't talk about those like crazy hours that you work and managing all aspects of things. I'm finding as an entrepreneur, I'm only 4 or 5 months in, and I've learned so much about everything I didn't know. That was all blind knowledge to me, dude. I thought I was like just gonna jump in. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's fucking we're gonna be blind knowledge, this huge thing right away. And I didn't realize that a year is a year, and it's a year of work, and it's marketing. It's changing on the fly. It's a lot. Have you have you had any struggles or challenges that you can speak on that you kind of got through, and you see a better side of it now?
Oh yeah, the thing about me is I never even wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, growing up and stuff, I was always like, nah, I'll work a day job. That's fine. And then I started working a day job, and it was not really that fine. I
Ah,
was like, wow, this is such a huge chunk of my life that I'm dedicating to other things. And then I come home and I just have time in the evenings for like making dinner, showering, exercising, going to bed, and I just start all over the next day. Um, yeah, what's funny is that when I started this whole process with Dio, I didn't even start it as like I'm gonna make like this speaker company that I'm gonna be selling lots of speakers with and stuff. It was really like I think I can like make a product like this. I don't know how to start a business, I don't know how to create a website, how to market, how to do any of those things, but I can start by just understanding the technology. And I just took it like one step at a time, right? And so like obviously there's some big challenges like even just like learning how to incorporate your company, right? Like that all the legal entity paperwork that you need to get ready. And then from there, like, okay, how
mm,
do you get like something that was started off as this little like Raspberry Pi development board that I bought that I just connected to like a speaker and did some like programming on it? How do I change that
mm,
into like a manufactured product, right? And just all the steps in between and along the way that yeah, I can't really even pinpoint to one specific challenge. It's all just been a huge learning experience as they just approached one next step at a time.
mm. I get that. I get that 100%. And I apologize. I did light a cigarette. We can always chop this part out. We can keep it. We can keep it for the edgy version. I know it's not looked upon as well, but there's just certain things in society that you got to hang with, and that are, the whole 420 concept, we'll call it. It's lax in different states. And that's a real deal. That's legal. That's drug testing. That's something that big companies and small companies, and even really anybody, you have to be aware of that. It's a topic. It's a discussion point that no one touches on, especially in business. Do you foresee any kind of issues with like paperwork, terms of conditions? Do you have like that kind of every nook and cranny is what I'm trying to get at. I'm not asking you specifically, do you drug test, but it's like, there's so many aspects. I would never have thought of that, you know, unless I already knew about it. That's blind knowledge. Maybe people don't know about these aspects of hiring, of just the nooks and crannies. What are some little nooks and crannies that you've picked up on as you started along your journey, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different questions in there. So just
There's a
starting
lot
at the high
there.
level,
Yes.
yeah,
But I think you can
starting at the
handle
high.
it.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think you
no,
can handle it.
yeah, no, just starting at the very high level. First off, yeah, I live in California, which is pretty judgment free for a lot of things. I don't really care what people do with themselves and in their own time. In terms of, even thinking about like employment, hiring, whatever, like, there's
Right,
a
those
lot
nooks and
of,
crannies. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. Go right ahead.
yeah, no worries. I mean, there's a lot that's just compliance, right? Like pure just here are the laws in these states, here's the laws in the country, here's like understanding all of those things. And that's a very I think honestly, for me, that's been one of the most daunting parts as an entrepreneur, is just kind of like how do you even figure all this stuff out? Luckily, in the internet age, there's obviously a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of services out there too, that are pretty affordable to just help entrepreneurs get started with like, general compliance, understanding if you're hiring contractors, like filing all that paperwork and getting them the stuff they need for their taxes. And that's something that I personally think as an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be spending a lot of time on, and that's why all these services exist. It's
Sure.
there's a lot of solutions packaged out there. So I'm not, so that's kind of, I guess, the first part, right? Which is like I don't think that should ever be the thing that causes the most anxiety, even though it is. Like it is sometimes like, oh my goodness, I don't understand compliance at all. But the
And that
second thing
causes
too,
anxiety, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it's like an
exactly.
anxiety friggin' spark.
Exactly. The second part of it too, though, is that one thing I've also learned just as an entrepreneur is you just tend to learn everything like related to just your
Seriously.
business, to the industry, to make running businesses, whatever. Like there's, I may not, I'm not a lawyer, right? But I've
Right.
had to learn, like, just legally how certain things, are framed. And again, even with like the incorporation stuff, with a lot of regulatory things related to manufacturing and shipping, like just a bunch of these different aspects. I'm also not an accountant, but I've had to learn,
Oh,
business accounting to be
counting.
able to like
Yeah.
figure out how exactly where, I'm doing pre-orders, how do you account for that? When do you actually account for all the costs associated
Uh,
to it, and like what's an
oh, you
expense?
make
Stuff like
oh, my
that.
head's gonna explode
Yeah,
now.
right? It makes your head want to explode. And at the same
Yeah.
time, I have an engineering background, so I've been like making a product, and then I've been running Facebook ads and learning all about copywriting and creatives and all that
So
stuff. So
much.
you kind of learn the yeah, you had to learn the basis of everything, that goes on. But that also helps you quickly figure out what you can kind of push out to, another service, like hiring an accounting firm or whatever, versus what you really do need to do yourself. But
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
pretty cool experience, like kind of learning a little bit of all of these things.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just, I'm taking it in. I'm taking it in. If you're just joining us on the live, thank you so much. I am your awkward host, Joey B. I do acknowledge green screens are fun, people. Definitely get one and definitely practice. Uh, this is my dude, CEO and founder of Dio Technologies Inc., Dio Nodes, Dio Speakers, Seamless Audio, high quality audio, 4 out of 5 stars, according to beta testers.
Hmm.
60% less than your typical Sonos speaker. Goes all around your house, completely controlled by and it's safe too. So it's controlled and it's safe. It is all through Apple. It's all through AirPlay. You have it right at your fingertips. You can listen right from the front door. Go to the bathroom real quick. Maybe go upstairs to the bedroom, change. Relax down the stairs. Then maybe even to the basement. Hang out in the man cave, or maybe do, I don't know, not man cave things or whatever, woman cave, anyone's cave. You can probably put them in a cave, to be quite honest, as long as you have Wi Fi. And that's the cool thing, man. These are speakers, Dio speakers. They're this new thing, and it's a seamless thing. So when you go through all these rooms, when you go up and down your house, you don't have to adjust. You can listen to my awkward ass all the way up and down your stairs, and I'm sure you want to do that. But seriously, you can actually listen to some awesome stuff seamlessly. So dioconnect.com, this is the man himself. How'd you get started?
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's quite a story. I really started from the customer standpoint, like really from as a guy who really liked listening to things. So back in 2017, I was working my full-time job. I was commuting like 30 minutes back and forth, which isn't a bad commute, but uh, I was constantly listening to things any moment I got to just like keep myself busy. So I started getting into podcasts. I started getting into audiobooks. And my routine was like, yeah, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll hop in the shower, I'll catch up on my news, right? With a podcast. I
Mm.
jump out of the shower, and then I'm just kind of waiting there for the podcast episode to end. And then I'd finally go out, get dressed, make breakfast, eat breakfast. And that whole time it was like it started getting more and more frustrating that I had to constantly like pause, like disconnect from a Bluetooth speaker in my bathroom and plug in
Mm.
headphones or connect to another Bluetooth speaker somewhere.
Yeah,
And I
it's
was
so
like, I
annoying to
just
do that.
exactly, yeah, I just
Mm.
wanted to have like a speaker in every corner of my home and connect to them all. And I was like, why is this so inefficient? Like, I'm sure I could make something like that. Right? That was my hubris speaking a bit, but I kind of started just setting out on like, okay, like what exists out there, just like have multi speakers, have speakers that you can put everywhere and connect to them all at once. Shouldn't be that bad. And I found that everything on the market that was doing something like that was pretty much like $200 or more per speaker. Right? So that's like thousands of dollars if you're thinking about buying like lots of
It
speakers for your
hurts.
home. All
Oh,
right, yeah, and I'm just like,
painful.
why?
Oh,
This doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
So that really is kind of like my mission. Like that's what started me thinking about this concept more and more, getting kind of more frustrated and more just kind of like the question of like why just kept coming back to me more and more. And then finally I was like, I want to try this. Like I want to try doing something about this. It can't be that bad. Um, so, that's when I started to like, put together speakers and get, like development boards and being like, okay, can I like get these to like talk to each other and all of that? Learning a lot more about how the technology works, learning about another big issue, which is just not just getting the speakers to connect to each other, but how do you get your phone to send audio to all of those speakers at once? Things like that, you know?
Yeah.
And
Po-
as I kind of went,
That's deep. That's a good point.
oh
That's
yeah,
deep.
oh yeah.
Deep
It's like
thought.
things that I feel like a lot of people don't think about as you kind of go through this little by little, step by step. And so, finally, I've landed where I am now, where I actually have like a fully designed product. I've tested a lot of different stuff on our website, running pre-orders right now on Indiegogo, which is like it's a crowdfunding platform
Yeah.
that's really getting discounts for pre-ordering the device, and helping me get my first bit of inventory in.
And get
So,
the word out
I,
too. Get the word out. Check out
yeah,
dioconnect.com. Joey B, the founder CEO of Dio Technologies Inc. We got to
exactly.
tell the
And
people
yeah,
we're live, man. We got to tell them
oh,
right
for
now.
sure, for sure.
Dioconnect.com, dude. Get there because right
Yeah,
now you're getting in now. You're getting in now, and they're new and they're launching just recently, just like Sublime Knowledge. So happy you're
exactly.
here because you get it, man. You get it. Tell me, man. Tell me what you're thinking about DO. Where are you at these days?
Yeah, so where are we at? And also for those of you who are trying to spell it out, it's Dio like audio. Nothing too complicated about it.
Yeah,
Um,
not like
and
Neo,
so
dude. Dio. DIO.
exactly, DIO, dioconnect.com. So, where we're at right now, yeah, that's a good question, right? Because I've gone through this whole journey now where I've actually gotten a product fully designed. I've got manufacturing lines set up. I have all the supply chain in place, and it's just turning the keys to turn it all on and get the production running. Right now we are running this, Indiegogo campaign, which like I mentioned, it's like pre-orders, and really all of that cash is just going into being able to place that first order of speakers so we can start selling, become a business. Where right after all of this, we are going to be selling from our website, setting up all of the e-commerce stuff, all that fun stuff. And really the goal has been to be the first like community-led speaker company out there. Because one of the
Ooh,
big things about
that's
what I'm
cool.
trying to do with Dio, right, is as I kind of dived in, as even as a customer, you find out very quickly that the audio space is very, very like there's a very few players in it. It's pretty much like
Very
Logitech,
narrow.
Sonos, Bose, Sennheiser, Bang& Olufsen, a couple other,
Mm,
companies. Um, and they're all really trying to push a lifestyle, right? Which is essentially,
yeah, kind of.
hey,
I see that.
you want to have this beautiful looking speaker with all these features that you really don't need, with this level of very small, tiny, incremental changes in sound quality,
Yeah,
that you're never going to hear.
sure.
And we want you to pay a premium on all of that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really kind of what it comes down to.
That's the shtick.
Um, yeah, and they're able to do that because there's like very few, companies out there that are in the audio space.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
so when I started Dio, I was one of the reasons we're even doing this Indiegogo campaign is I'm trying to build a company that is not trying to sell its customers a lifestyle, but is trying to be
Interesting.
led by, just common homes, by its customers.
Uh,
You basically help be part of the journey from the very beginning. And you can
oh,
even, we even have perks on our Indiegogo page where you can become part of like our Dio product council, which will
Indiegogo.
help you have input into like future products and stuff.
Mm.
So it really is, something I'm trying to build to make speakers for like the average home that like people can have their input in, where it really is something that is useful for your home and accessible because we're also the most affordable home audio system out there at the same time. And that's really been the goal, right? It's not really been to create another Sonos or Bose, but to create something that's really a little bit different, that really stands for something that is, something just easier to get behind and that you can feel like you're a part of.
Okay. Okay. I'm starting to get a clearer picture. I actually just took some notes real quick, was looking at my time. Because it's important to me. I need to take this in like a sponge. Really, anything I try to learn from my perspective, at least, is to learn as much about it as I can because I love it. I'm into it, you know. Man, Indiegogo you mentioned. Why Indiegogo? Why take that approach?
Yeah, so Indiegogo, well, a lot of audio products launch on Indiegogo like constantly. And so, it's a platform that people who are there already are very aware of these, kind of cool projects and products. They even have, they provide some good visibility.
Okay.
But
Okay.
more than that, I
Tell
think
me
it's
more. Tell
also,
me more.
yeah, yeah. So more than that, I think it's also though the uh, kind of the statement that we're making as a company by kind of going on Indiegogo. Because again,
Okay.
this deal was I haven't structured it. I haven't really built this uh to be this like big venture backed behemoth that is just like a corporate, like a dry corporate entity that again, is trying to like push product onto people and try to like sell them
It makes
lifestyles.
when you say it like that,
It's
yeah, that is out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really supposed to be something that is like, for example, the product we're offering, right? It's everything that I have put into this product, every bit of thought has been around how do we make this as easy to set up as possible, as seamless to use and integrate into
Yeah.
your home
It's
as
important.
possible. Even the design is very simple. And with that same mentality, it's like, what statement are we making as a company by going on Indiegogo? We're saying like, hey, we are a company that is really here for you as the customer to like help drive.
I would
We're
hope
not
so.
here
I would hope
again
so.
to yeah, we're really not here to make things more complicated in your life. We're here to be there with you, right, and for you. Is this kind of really what I think
Good.
Indiegogo
Good.
projects are well known for? So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you have the goodness. You have the community down. I'm trying to get a well-rounded picture here. We're kind of going into different topics quickly, but I'm taking people on a ride. I'm trying to learn myself, and hopefully, we're going to teach some people some things. And it's not going to come from me. It's going to come from the man, the myth, the legend, the dude you're going to know about, the founder and CEO of Dio Technologies Inc. My dude, Mr. Vinoid. Is it Vinoid? Is it? It's Vinoid, right?
It's Vinod. Yeah.
Vinod. Yeah, see, man. See, I don't do names well. This is going to be a common theme through the show.
You're good. You're good.
Which is probably not etiquette. I know it's not etiquette. I don't really give a shit. I don't really care. Because I
The
care
cool
about
thing
what the topics are, not the etiquette, man. But go ahead, go ahead. I'm going into
Exactly. No, and I
diatribe
mean
mode.
the cool thing about podcasts, right? Like I said, I'm really into podcasts and stuff. And the cool thing about podcasts is it really is a
Cool.
conversation, right? And I think that's why people tune in
Sometimes,
because
yeah, sometimes.
yeah, I think people really just enjoy hearing these people who are in, doing different things in life and just having conversation about
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they get there and what they're doing. So,
Yeah, but I'll stop you there just because I want to argue this point. I think it's more about the sound quality. I think it's more about convenience, and I think it's more about relating to the content. Sure, yes, that, but I would put that actually number three. I think sound quality is a big deal, and you got the speakers, dude. Don't you think?
yeah. I mean, I can definitely make this more about me again with the speakers. So here's the cool
It is
thing
about you, bro.
as
This is
well.
about
Yeah,
you. This is not about
uh,
me.
appreciate it, appreciate it.
Got that. You got
So
that.
yeah, another really cool thing I think about the speakers, right, is I talked about it being simple to set up, seamlessly just integrated into your phone. But one other thing, of course, is sound quality, because everyone's going to be like, but what about sound quality? What about sound quality? Because why would
Mm.
you
It's
spend
important to
extra
me.
money for things that you like don't enjoy listening to? So one other thing too, again, when you look into space,
It's not
um,
about that though.
people.
It's not about that. It's not about not being. It's not about not enjoying what you're listening to, dude. It's not, because if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't listen to it. That's null and void. It's about, not just enjoying the experience. And this is just my opinion as a musician of 20 years, is a huge critique of sound. We're QCing my whole network. We're going through. You have to have top quality audio. I just believe it. I am used to studios. You're going to get studio sound, you know, but you're going to get top quality audio, right? I'm not talking top shelf. We're not talking mastered copies, master houses. If you don't know, I mean, those are that's attainable, but not through a friggin' speaker in your home, at least not yet, maybe in the year 3000. It's just like almost impossible. But not even Sonos can get that. And those are good. Not even, there's just no way to do it. Real quick, man. Sound quality. Is it good, or is it just, do you have to work on it?
No, 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 no. It is great. It's neither option. It's great.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Here, let me geek out for a minute if you don't mind.
Please
So
geek.
I'm gonna get a little bit technical here. I think a lot of people don't know this, and I feel like they'd be interested in it. So when you think of speakers nowadays, you really think of Bluetooth speakers, right? You think about these. I mean, that is just
Yeah.
Bluetooth speakers. Yeah, wireless Bluetooth speakers. They're pretty commonplace. But the thing is, Bluetooth, right, as a technology, it actually, and this is the big thing, this is what I mean by all the big speaker companies are trying to like sell you something, right, rather than
Yeah.
really look out for you.
Right.
Bluetooth as a
Right.
technology is not good for audio in general, like just hands down. Bluetooth wave, like if you think about that radio wave of Bluetooth that's going from your phone to your speaker, the
Mm,
bandwidth is too small to actually pack all of your audio data into.
that's so
And
interesting.
so, yeah, and so yeah, like I said, I'm gonna geek out a bit. And so because of that, there's you compress your audio, actually get a lot of loss. For example, I'm using wireless Bose headphones right now, and I got these after my wired Bose headphones that I got like 10 years ago finally broke down. And the sound quality difference was
Oh,
almost immediate. It's not as good, which is crazy because it was more expensive. And the
yeah.
reason for that
Interesting.
is really just because Bluetooth. Streaming through Bluetooth makes you lose sound quality on the way that like a wired thing won't happen. But here's the secret: is that you can actually send wirelessly a bunch of audio data to a speaker or to earphones or whatever, but you need a bigger band, and that's why we
Mm,
went on to Wi-Fi, right? So it has more bandwidth. It actually takes all of that audio data, it doesn't compress it, just sends it straight through and plays out of your
it
speaker
makes
the way
sense.
that like
It
a wired
makes
speaker would.
sense. It
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
so that's really Dio. I've been demoing this speaker at like cafes and stuff in the area, and one of the biggest comments I keep getting is
Cool.
like, "Whoa, they're so small. Why do they sound so good?" Because people don't expect it, and it's really just because they're not Bluetooth speakers. And I'm not a company
Mm.
that's going to be trying to sell you something that you might not need, right? Like portably taking your speaker out of the house just for 1 hour at the beach, right? Like I'm selling
Getting
you something you
sand
can
in it.
use all day long
Yeah,
at like
that's
in your
cool.
home, and it's always ready for you to use through Wi-Fi. So
Right. And
yeah.
like you said, that it's seamless through the direct cable. Like Wi-Fi can be so much clearer in the quality of the frequencies, and the I should say the range of the frequencies. Um, all of that is just a better experience through Wi-Fi versus Bluetooth, and I think that's important for people to know. I don't think that's actually well known.
Oh yeah, it's not well known at
Well,
all,
so
right?
we're
So if
trying
you're
to
used to
drive the
Bluetooth
information
quality
out, man.
speakers,
The knowledge,
yeah,
dropping knowledge, dude. That's what it's
exactly.
all about.
Yeah, and so my main thing is just if you're used to Bluetooth quality speakers, then like yeah, you're gonna be pretty damn happy with these Dio Note speakers.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, let's get out of cell mode. Let's get out of cell mode. If you're just joining us on the live stream, if you're just learning who I am, my name is Joey B. I've been doing this a long time. Yeah, that's all that needs to be said. Nah, man, I've interviewed some really cool cats. I've done some cool things, and I'm cool. I'm cool with this dude right here. Um, we we're all about dropping knowledge, blind knowledge. We're brand new. I'm an entrepreneur. This dude's an entrepreneur. We're talking entrepreneur things, and sales is part of it. But let's get out of that bubble. You know, let's talk about what made you really start putting in the work. I saw like there was some soldering going on. I know nothing about soldering. Was that even soldering? It was just wiring. Like you had the funky microphone kind of thing, that whole process. How was that? Like, was that fun? Figuring this
Yeah,
out,
yeah. So I think
See
you're
where I'm going
referring
with
to.
this?
Yeah, yeah. I think you're referring to one of the images I
Couple
put up
questions
on
though.
my website about our
Cool.
journey. So first
Yeah.
off, that actually was not soldering. I have soldered
Okay.
before. But I do have an engineering background, so I've done a lot of that stuff before.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, but what you were
That's true.
referring to was specifically this like off the shelf development board I had. That funky looking microphone was actually a speaker. Um,
Thank you for clearing that
and
up. And you already told me that too. And I know, yeah, I just remembered. I was like, but that was a funky thing, like that. Yeah, tell people,
it was
tell
just a
them,
small,
preach.
cheap $10 or $5 like wireless speaker, or not wireless speaker, wired speaker that I bought off of Amazon. I just plugged it into this development board and I just started, coding a little bit and trying to see how to get these speakers to talk to each other. That was my first step. That was like my very like
It's
low,
interesting. Just
low
needed to
spend,
know.
just
Needed to
yeah,
know. That's cool.
yeah. So
Okay.
that was almost like prototype version 0, I would almost call that, right? Like it was like me just figuring out how all this stuff works and getting my hands dirty a bit. So
That's awesome. All right. So where to go from there?
yeah, let's see from there. So, one big thing, right,
I need to
about
know. People need to know. I
yeah,
think. I don't know. Maybe if they don't, I need to. So, and if I
yeah,
didn't, then we wouldn't be asking. So, where do we go from here
yeah. So let's say we,
in the journey, the
that
stories?
picture, that was me, what I was doing like 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
So that was me at
Okay.
the very start of the journey.
Wow.
Since then, it's been 2.5 years. So kind of step by step, even just on the product development side, right? Is
Yeah.
from there, I pretty much, I started getting kind of basic working prototype zeros, as I mentioned. And I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. And I started understanding the technology. I was able to start looking into just what would it take to really get your phones to work with this, right? To really stream wirelessly from your
Yeah.
phone to all these multiple speakers. Um, and as I kind of went through there and I understood the technology better, I started landing on this thing called Apple AirPlay, which is a really cool piece of technology that not a lot of people know about that's built into your iPhone and really allows you to transfer like your audio, for example, to a bunch of different devices at once. And it was like integrated right in there and it was like it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
what I
can't.
did after that,
I'm listening.
yeah,
Sorry. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So
Please do.
what I did right after that was like I hit up Apple. I just straight up was like, "Hey, I want to use your technology in my speakers so that it works with all of this."
Wow.
And they were like, "Yeah, all right. You're gonna have to go through like an application process, but sure." And so I went through this application process. Like they really dived deep into Dio, into the background, all of that stuff. Sign NDAs, all that good stuff.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and as I and
Jesus.
they approved me. They were like, "Yeah, this is a cool concept. Let's go ahead." So
Hmm.
after that, I was like, "Great, what's the
And you
next
didn't
step?"
know about
Next
that
step,
stuff. This was
yeah,
just kind of you learning on the
this is
way.
me figuring it all out. How do I
Just
convince a company
improv.
like Apple to think that my
Wow.
concept's good
Damn.
enough to
That's hard.
let me license their technology?
Hmm.
So from there, once I
That's
kind
got to
of
be
had that
difficult.
little like badge on my shoulder from Apple, I started to yeah. Of course, during this time too, I was kind of sketching, like literally like sketching, like ideas, and figuring out how the speaker's gonna look, and stuff like that. And then I kind of took all of this to some manufacturers, and I was like, hey, like I know exactly how all this is supposed to come together, and I've got the sketches of what I want to look like and stuff like that. Um, do you guys want to join me and like help me make this like a manufactured product?
Yeah. Come
And
on in, kind of thing.
yeah, and so from there, obviously like negotiations and conversations, all those took place. Landed on, I kind of down selected one specific manufacturer that seemed to really have just the best capability and best support to bring this forward, and they've been great. And
Hmm.
working together with them to set up the production lines and do all that stuff. And along the way, I got like production samples, like we were tweaking different things on like really how is this going to be mass produced and how's it going to look and how's it whatever.
Sure. Sure, sure,
So
sure.
I've
Yeah,
got
you
like
have to have
seven
every detail,
prototypes in
man,
the
right?
yeah, exactly. So I got 7 prototypes in the process, and here I am now with the design locked in, the just fully ready to actually build at scale, and the tooling kicked off, and all that stuff that you need to manufacture things, and we're ready to go. Now we're just kind of,
You're
hitting
in
up
it.
those
You're in it. You're
pre-orders and
there.
getting those. Yeah,
But you're
exactly.
not there yet,
So
kind of thing mentality, right? Isn't it like, yeah, we've come this far, 2.5 years. We went through all of this stuff that we didn't know was gonna happen. We're staying true to the cause. We're here, but we can enjoy it for 1 second because that's where we want to be. We want to be all the way over there. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't that the
yeah,
mentality kind of thing?
as an entrepreneur, you always feel like you're not there yet. You're like, okay, I've done
Right.
all this stuff. Okay, but I still need to get to like this step and then this. So yeah, like I'm now next step is we need to get in our inventory, our mass produced batch of speakers and get them into people's homes and start selling, right? And like that's kind of when I'm like, oh, then we'll get started. But I'm sure that when that happens, I'll be like, no, no, no. It's only when we like hit a certain number of sales or whatever, like I there's always going to be the next thing to kind of, hit the next goal, the next step with Dio, I'm sure. But I'm very excited because I mean, like I said, this speaker, it's ready. I'm so excited to
That's cool.
get this in people's homes.
That's cool. How do people find it? How do people find these speakers? How do they buy them? How do they
Yeah.
learn about them?
So yeah, yeah. How do they learn about them? I don't know. No, I've done.
DioConnect.com, dude. You have that great,
Yeah,
like your website has like you show the people, you showed me like how it
yeah, yeah.
works. Like I don't get that at Sony. I don't get that at
Exactly,
Sonos. I get that
exactly.
at Dio. That's cool.
And that's a cool thing, right? So we've got a website, dioconnect.com. And when you go there, you can read all about the product. But if you want to really see the product, you've got to hit that pre-order now button, and it's going to take you to our Indiegogo page. Over there, I've got a few different videos.
Cool.
I've got like a one big video showing the concept. I've
I'm
got
actually gonna
a
hit the
video
button right now.
actually demoing. Yeah, yeah. I've got a video actually that like demoing the speakers, like me in my own little home, showing you how it works. And then I've got like a lot more information. How do they compare to like some of the other big speakers you think about in this space?
Mm.
What our beta testers have said about this, like real
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
quotes
I
from
love that.
them. Yeah, and a bunch of other information about just the whole,
You're
everything that
teaching
you could,
us. You're
I would
teaching
think you could
us
probably want to know.
Yeah, you're teaching us about Dio. You're trying to make a Dio community, like you said before. You're teaching us. I love that you're teaching us because I know a lot about audio, but I didn't know a lot of the data you have on there, a lot of the knowledge, and I think that's really cool.
For sure.
DioConnect.com is where you can get the speakers. Indiegogo, shout out to Indiegogo. I haven't talked to you yet, but now I'm gonna have to. Now we're gonna have to talk, man. Hopefully we can do something together. Um, let's see. What do we ask the man? Hey, if you're live on the stream, there is a chat. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, man. We're on Twitter right now as we go. There is a chat. If you have any questions or even some feedback for the man, feedback from me, questions, concerns, yo, just don't get me in any trouble. Put it right into the chat. You can also call in 877-237-1143. You can text or you can call, man. If I got a sec, I'll answer the phone. But hey, I'm right here, and that could be wild, but it could be weird. Anyway, man, um, you know, 2.5 years, speakers. How do you get away from it? I know you're a musician. You're a sick drummer. You still drumming? Do you go for runs? Do you sleep ever? Like,
Yeah, the first two, not as much as the last.
yeah,
I
I
yeah,
get that.
drumming has been probably one of my biggest, it's my biggest hobby. It's been one of the biggest parts of my identity since I was young. I
Yeah,
started when I was in
cool.
middle school. I was part of everything related to like band and percussion and drums. I was part of my own neighborhood rock band, of course. I was part of the jazz band at school, percussion ensemble, the band
Sure.
class, the community orchestra on the weekends. So I've done the whole
Wow.
range, I think. But drum set is like my actual passion. Got my own little electronic drum set here in my home. It's
Nice, keeping
electronic
it
so that I
quiet.
don't piss off the neighbors. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to get back
Yeah.
to my normal acoustic drum set once I can finally own a home, but I'm a millennial, so that might never happen. Who knows?
Hopefully, knock
But
on wood, it will. I'm
yeah,
used to
yeah, I
studios.
hope
I always
so.
had a jam spot. I get it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's my dream. Like, I'm like, man, when I can finally get my dream home built, it's gonna have like, its own little soundproof room at the bottom with my drum set in it. And I'm gonna
Yeah, I
be
mean,
able to have speakers all over there too that I can play along with. It's
that's
gonna be
what's up.
great.
That's what's up, man. Not even. I mean, no one could listen to audio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they're always there for you. They're just at the click of a button, and that's cool, man. You can have it in your dream home, or not just a dream home. I mean, I think it starts with a dream. Everything really does, or maybe just a thought. But yo, man, if you have a drive, if you have a vision, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to get a house, if you want to have a career, whatever it may be, if you want to be a pro rock drummer, you got to be focused, and you got to be, I don't know, you got to have a good team around you, maybe a little bit of luck here and there, some good fortune, some good fate. You know,
Yeah,
mentioned earlier, you
mentioning that.
never, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll go
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
fly. Go right ahead.
You mentioned that bit about luck, right? And that's honestly been one of my big life lessons, just doing Dio, doing everything else in life. You know, we always want to look at people who've done stuff in life, and I'm not even saying I've done anything like major. I will see if Dio becomes successful or not, but you always look at people like that, and we're just like, wow, they must have been so skilled or talented or smart or whatever. But like, when I even look back at my own life, like so much of it, I personally attribute to luck. Like I really think that you you can't get anywhere without like just on your own. You can
I
only get
agree.
there by
I agree.
really, having the people in your life who are willing to give you some level of grace, some level of fortune, some level of support to help you push forward. And that's
Mm,
been my biggest lesson, right? Is just kind of like tune that ego down a bit and just like, oh, I need people and I need luck to really
I
keep
hear you.
pushing myself further. So
Yeah.
you try to do the best with that, right? But you won't get
Yeah.
anywhere without that. So
I love that. This is why we hit it off, man. Same philosophy. Like I register with so many of the different things that you have said all throughout this interview, and we're at 42, 46. Feels like just 5 minutes, because I just take it in, man. I got 3 screens here. I got 4 pieces of paper. Like I'm just like writing shit down because well, first of all, it's broadcasting. I'm not used to video. We'll get there. I'll get something on the ceiling up here pretty soon. But just like Dio, I'm starting out too. I just started Blind Knowledge 4 months ago. It's nearly impossible to actually make this successful. I know that. But the other thing I know is that I've seen it done. I helped build an internet radio network back from 2013 to 2016. I was in it. I was fortunate to be there. Things went really well and things went really wrong, and things went really good and things went really bad. There was just ups and downs, ebbs and flows, man. It was a roller coaster. And I burnt out. I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to go do the regular thing. And I got a job at a very good job at a very big insurance company. And for 6 or 7 years, well, I know how long I was there. I was there for 6.5. So 6, 7, we'll call it that. It's about like 5 months, 6 years, 5 months. And, that lifestyle just wasn't for me. And now I'm back in this thing, trying not to burn out kind of thing, trying not to overdo it, trying not to produce and host and book interviews and do ads and trying to figure out how the hell this is going to be successful, and what is success, and what is what the f, or what the whatever, what is blind knowledge, dude. It's like all of these things. Have you come to any of that? Like, do you relate with any of that at all
oh,
with the dio
I
the dio
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I relate with all of it.
Okay.
Like I mean, there
Okay, cool.
isn't like honestly, I don't
It's
think
like,
there's
I
a
hope
week
so.
that goes by. Yeah, I think even as you know, I've been working on this for 2.5 years. Even then, like I'm pretty sure every single week I need to constantly keep having a check-in with myself, being like, what am I doing? Like, where is this
Okay,
going? Like, what's the next steps?
that's a good idea.
And is this going to be successful or not? How do I catch that early enough, right? Know
Yeah,
when to
yeah,
put in more because it's going to be
yeah.
successful, or when to start pulling back if it's not. I've constantly had to have those conversations with
Hmm.
myself, and I think every entrepreneur does. So yeah, you're not alone, man.
Well,
It is a
I
roller
bring it up.
coaster of a
I
journey.
bring it up because, yo, you have 2.5 years entrepreneur. You're not sure if it's successful yet. You mentioned that. I think just having the balls to just do this thing and try something, whatever it is, at with where you're at in life. You could just kind of say, hey, you know what? This is cool. This is whatever. Maybe I'll do volleyball. Or maybe maybe I'll start knitting or something. Maybe I'll fall in love with that passion, or maybe falling in love with passions doesn't matter to me. Depends on the person, right? I think this stuff just takes a certain drive. And for me, I'm 4 months in. I've always wanted to do this entrepreneurial stuff. I'm also a musician. I'm creative as hell. I try to be like really, really fun. Business kind of sucks sometimes, but it's really interesting and it's kind of a way of life. Call it fortunate or unfortunate, whatever that is. So what I'm trying to get at here is I'm 4 months in, you're 2.5 years in. Anything you can give me is going to help me. And hopefully that'll trickle down to anyone listening because there's got to be people in the same positions, whether it's you or me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first thing I would say is like I'm 2.5 years in, but I'm 2.5 years in on a consumer hardware product, which is like a whole different timeline than like a lot of other businesses, right? So I won't necessarily say it's like, oh, 2.5 years of experience so far down. I'm still a runt. I'm still starting out when it comes to this space because it takes a
Okay.
while
Oh,
to build a consumer
okay.
electronics product.
I
So
didn't know
that's
that.
something I definitely
That's
want to
interesting.
yeah, I definitely want to highlight that, right? And that comes out like if I was 2 years into like a software like product, that would be very different. That would be like, wow, so experienced. But for me, every step of it has been something brand new where I still feel like someone inexperienced who's learning something new. And I think that's
Wow.
gonna go on for a while. Um,
And you know
so
that. That's a good thing that you
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
have,
oh yeah.
that you're ready for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think you need to have a lot of self-awareness as an
Mm,
entrepreneur. You need to kind of be able to do those pulse checks. You need to know what you don't know so that you can figure out how to figure that out. So that's a pretty
I
trippy
love that.
statement, but
I
you
love
need
that.
that.
That's so true. Can you say that again?
Yeah. Well, you need to know what you don't know so that you can start figuring out what you had to figure out.
Yo, I think you should definitely trademark that, and that should be a quote because that's inspirational stuff, dude. That's awesome. Did you
Yeah,
know
I'll
that
put it
going
on a
in?
t-shirt.
Obviously not. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. I mean, yeah, there's that angle too. I wasn't even coming from that approach, because, like I said, there's business and there's just good stuff out there, like good music, good design, good art. But anyway, it's just a good quote. That I like that a lot. That connected. I felt it. They say good art. They say the definition of good art is something you can feel, whether it's negative or positive. So I really take that into my life, my everyday living. And you're a musician, man. How do you balance that? The business and the creativity. Is it easy for you? Is it difficult? Was it hard? Now it's easy. You know, how is that? Just the balance. How do you do it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's something I'm still trying to figure out, to be completely honest. Something I've learned, like, when it comes to creativity, there have been a lot of opportunities in building Dio where I've had the opportunity to funnel my creativity into it, right? Like even my
Yeah.
website, like something
Yeah.
as basic as a website, I have personally designed the website for Dio, right? I have put all of my thought into it, into, what goes where, what sort of like font sizes, whatever, figuring out what sort of
The
assets
nooks
to
and the
generate. Yeah.
crannies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Figuring out the assets to generate too, right? Like
Yeah.
what sort of speaker images and stuff do I want on there? Like what's the content going to say? What's the flow going to say? That stuff, I find that really interesting because that's my way of kind of unplugging from the like from the
It's a lot.
business side. right? And really
It's a
kind of
lot for
about
most.
this
I
is
think
my
it's.
creative project. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I love this stuff. I love this conversation right now. I I think that would make my head explode if I wasn't thinking that way. It's just like, ooh, migraine.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you like it though, because if you didn't, then I don't know how the hell anyone could do it.
Oh, don't get
Odd.
me wrong. Sometimes it makes my head explode too. Sometimes I'm like, I can't do
So you
this, but
do
I
have
have to
those
do this.
moments. Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, I have those moments all the time.
So those
But
are
in
challenges.
terms of
Yeah.
just balancing creativity, right? It's like, I mean, of course, I've got my drum set too. Like, I try to hop
Okay.
on
So
when
you're
I
getting
can.
the
But
energy out. Yeah.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
people
And I'll be
run.
honest with you, I
Some people
haven't
do.
drummed in
Yeah.
like a month, which is terrible for me. I used to do it every single day, and now it's like, oh no, every day, every evening, every weekend is so jam packed.
Yeah, and all you wanna
So
do is
yeah,
just drum for 5 friggin' minutes. I get it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally get it. I didn't touch my guitar for, like since I started, December 1st. Dude, I was like I just restrung it for the first time. I didn't touch it, like and then I felt it again. I caressed its body. It was just oh my god, it just came back, like, right away. I didn't even miss a beat, dude. It was just boom. I like calluses are still there, which is impressive. It's impressively impressive. So it's maybe that's my trademark. But
That's
anyway,
awesome.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
impressively
no, I
impressive.
mean, drums, there's all this muscle memory and stuff too, and I'm pretty happy it hasn't gone away yet.
But it's
But
what
yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's a good thing. Yeah, of course. Those are the nooks and crannies of it. Maybe we'll call this episode nooks and crannies at this point. But I'm saying like it's just so difficult to do the things you want to really do that are leisure versus the things you want to really do that are business and that
Mm-hmm.
balance. And it's been difficult for me too. But I think we have to find that time. We have to,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah,
have to.
exactly.
So I hope you drum after this after this interview on this episode, man. Keep drumming. Maybe we can
Thank
jam.
you.
Maybe we
Yeah.
can do something, man. I did an interview with a gentleman, DLP Delapo. He's in Africa. Really, really good singer. Interesting range. DLP Music is his music. You can check him out. DLP Music on Spotify. Also, Winston Wayne over in the Netherlands. We were just talking. We were just having a conversation. And now we're jamming on a song. We're sending tracks to each other, um, through WhatsApp. And that's why I actually picked up the guitar and strung it, is because it was just like inspiring. What inspired you to start Dio? What was that spark? You said you had that interest. You said you wanted to solve a problem. Was there a certain thing that got you to start thinking about that? What did it happen in school? You know, was it just maybe there wasn't a spark? If that's the case too, you know,
Oh yeah.
let me know.
There were a
Speak
couple
to me.
factors. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there are definitely a couple factors in here. So I think one thing that I also kind of learned, right, was what like I said,
It's a deep
I never
question, I'm
thought,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I never thought that I was gonna be an entrepreneur, but it got to a point where when I started thinking about just like connected speakers, just affordable connected speakers that are easy to use. When I started thinking about the concept, I was literally there've been times where I was having dreams like about Dio and the Dio concept. Yeah, I'm not even joking.
Literally
Like it
dreaming
was
about Dio.
yeah, it was on my mind so much,
Hell
right?
yeah. Yeah.
That I was like, I gotta
I
do
get that.
something about this. Like I have to do something about this, you know?
It's just
It's
like,
gotta be
yeah,
out in the world.
like you're a
Um,
business robot and it must be done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that
Ingrained
was
in.
really where my spark, right? Like for me, it got to a point where it's like when it was just on my mind so much, and that was when I was like, okay, I know I got to do something about this. I also uh at that time period had just quit my job because I was about to go into my MBA program.
There's the spark. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
was
fire.
going into an MBA program, and I was like, I'm gonna have 2 years off my career.
That
I want
started
to
the
do something
thinking,
with
maybe.
it.
Or maybe it was a
Yeah,
build to
so
that. Okay.
yeah, so I had the space to really think it through, to really start working on it a little bit, and things like that. So I had the space, and then I also just had it on my mind constantly, and I was like,
Mm,
let's try it.
very
This
cool.
is a
Very
risk-free,
cool. Cool. So that's a
test.
good
So yeah.
attitude. That's a good attitude. It's not like It's not like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. There's no way. I suck. It's like, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's try it.
Yeah,
What's the worst that can happen?
exactly.
Kind of. That's the attitude, man.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you got to have in anything, really. And I don't, I'm 36 is what I'm trying to say, and it took me until I started blind knowledge until I just said, fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's try and see. I
Yeah.
had my own
And that's one thing
sparks.
too is one big
Sure.
thing I think when I was like I'm never gonna be an entrepreneur versus now, right? One big difference is like back
Oh,
then
oh,
I thought
oh.
that entrepreneurs were gonna be
Hard.
like yeah, I thought
It's
entrepreneurs were the
hard.
type of people who like how do you phrase it? Like people who were already committed in a way, right? Versus what I've learned is the
Uh,
best attitude is just a trial attitude, right? Like start with let's
I
try
agree.
something. Right? How do I
I
try
agree.
something where it's not going to require me to like, you know, just put in my entire life savings into it? How do you start with that? And then how do you just go one step at a time after that, right? Like,
Right?
let me
It's a
just try the
risk. It's
next
a
step. Let me
risk.
try the next step. Eventually, you're going to take so many steps, you're going to end up like where I am, where it's like, oh, wow, I have a product ready now and I have people who are actually willing to pre-order it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so let's take that next step again and let's see where that goes. I think that is one of the healthiest like attitudes you can have towards stuff like this because it helps you just feel like, you know, again, I'm not building my whole life, finances, and identity around this thing. I'm just taking it one step at a time and I'm trying something out. Um,
Playing
so
it
yeah,
smart.
I think
Playing it
yeah,
smart. Yeah. That's smart. You're not throwing everything in. For me, I have priorities, right? My priority right now is um my company. No, not my company, but the company I work for. Um that I was actually going to say the name of, but I don't know if I'm allowed to. So I'm gonna ask them that. But I'm actually about to work, hopefully, with the CEO and prep for his podcast. We've been talking back and forth through the email, and I'm new there. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. It's a great company. It's Green Energy is what it is, and I'll ask them if I can say their name. But anyway, in the future, ah. So anyway, that's my priority right now. Rent over roof over my head, food which I need to get, just the little things to survive, the big things too. And so that's smart, because I could see how someone could get really impulsive and be like, well, fuck it, I'm either going to be homeless or I'll go for it. It's hard to find that drive to do a lot. You must be pulling a lot of hours. How much do you sleep at night? Do you sleep? We got like, what's your
I mean, you got to sleep a little bit,
must be
but
pulling
yeah,
out.
no, there's
Yeah,
been
well,
it
uh,
depends on
yeah.
it depends on what's going on with Dio, right?
Mm.
There are times, like
Yeah.
for instance, when this Indiegogo first week that this launched, I was averaging like 4 hours of sleep a night for the entire week. It was really bad. I
Mm.
was I was kind of dying. But it was a
Yeah, I
lot
was
because
doing
I
that at first too.
basically had to yeah, I was trying to tidy up the page and get everything all set up before the campaign started, and then I immediately threw into like it went live, and now I need to send out emails at certain times.
Actually,
I
that
need
feels like
to
what I'm
make
going
sure
through
that
right
like
now.
yeah. It's like I needed to
Wow.
make sure that I was answering questions that people were sending. I need to make sure that I'm just like getting, taking the most advantage of the launch situation and like kind of pushing forward. That was tough. And I also, like you, I'm working a full-time job. I'm here in Silicon Valley. I work for a tech company. I work in supply chain stuff, so I have a lot of hours with China in the evenings, and I'm also
Oh,
working,
wow.
US time. And on top of that,
Whoa.
I was like trying to do Dio stuff and balance it all off and be like, okay, I need a hard cutoff at like 7 or 8 p.m.
Hard
from work
stop.
work so that I can work on Dio stuff till
Yo.
like 1 a.m. or so. It was tough. It
Right.
was really tough.
Oh,
But
wow. Wow.
if it's worth it, it's worth it. And like, it was 1 week off my back, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but it happens. And
Okay. That's
I
good to
do
hear.
try to
It's just
practice
like,
some self-care, right? Like you got to do
you
that as
have to,
well.
right? I'm
So
learning.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I just went on a run this morning.
You do
And
run.
yeah, I
Yo,
slept
I had
pretty
a
well.
feeling
Oh
there was
yeah,
some
yeah.
running going on here. I've said it twice. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I knew
I mean, when
someone
you
was
say
running
drums,
somewhere.
though, my whole attention is like, yes, drums.
Oh, I get
But
that,
yeah,
man.
running
I
is
get
my
that.
second
Tunnel
favorite.
vision. Nice. I used to run a lot. Right now, I haven't, and that's because I'm kind of in this grind. I'm. I'll be honest. I'm gaining weight. I'm not eating right. I'm not sleeping right. It's like whoa. It's a lot. And especially at the
Hmm.
beginning. At the beginning, and this is the beginning, and it's like I don't even know how long I can sustain at this pace. And then I realize I cannot sustain at this pace. I need a hard stop. I need to just switch gears. It's hard to switch gears, going from full-time job to business to this and that. And I think maybe it's not about switching gears. Maybe I'm learning right now. Maybe it's about encompassing it all and figuring out where the puzzle pieces fit. I don't know. What do you, any advice for me as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think at the beginning, it's gonna feel like a lot because it's gonna feel like a lot of chaos, right? There's a lot you don't
Uh,
know, and it's like this big, obscure, just like journey. You don't know what has to happen, and then suddenly you figure it out, and it has to happen right then.
yeah,
So
it's
that
exciting as hell.
happens.
Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah,
exciting as hell. I love it. But it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
No, that happens. It starts getting more clear. I think the more you start kind of getting the pieces together, the more you're gonna get more direction on what needs to happen next, and then you can start planning
Okay.
out two,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6 steps away, and really start kind of feeling a little bit calmer about what needs to happen. And you can even take time when you know you can take time because you know what's coming up next. But at the
I would love
beginning
to
it's
take
hard
some.
because you don't know what's coming
Okay.
up,
All
so
right. It's good
yeah.
to hear that from you, man. It's good to hear that from anybody. Because I'm so new to this. I'm so new to the entrepreneur. Like entrepreneurial, I should say the entrepreneurial lifestyle. And I'm not on I don't even know if I am an entrepreneur. I don't know like if that defines me with where I am right now, but nevertheless, whatever, on that. But it's like, wow, there's just so much. It's so much. And I'm used to being a producer. That's my background. I'm a musician. We used to produce and create internet radio shows. That's what I did in person. This internet stuff is a trip, but I'm getting it and I get it quick and I'm learning. And like you said, it's like, all right, solve this problem, on to the next one. Solve this problem. Yes, we did it. On to the next one. Oh shit, solve this problem. Yes, thank God. On to the next one. Holy fucking shit. Like, it's just, wow. It's like, I don't even know if I want to be doing this business shit. Like, I just want to just podcast. Like, I haven't had time to do that. But at the deep it down, I know that this could be a really positive thing just for people in general. And it could be great just to do something you love forever, whatever forever is for me. So I'm sticking with it. I might have to call you for advice now that I know that we're on like the same track, and do you ever go to like conferences? Do you talk to other entrepreneurs? Because I feel so isolated sometimes. Like I don't know who to bounce things off of. Even in my own network right now, it's so new. I don't, it's especially with everyone's remote. I'm used to having a studio. You get to know people. Do you find yourself
Yeah,
reaching out to others a lot, like outside of
yeah. I
Dio?
mean, the pandemic's just been isolating, I think, in general
Oh,
for a lot.
it's
So
it's
I
rough,
totally feel
man.
you.
It makes you anxious. It makes you like just overthink. Just like it's hard to just step back and take a breath.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got my network, right? So one cool thing
That's
is I
good.
did my
I,
MBA, right? When I know a
okay.
lot of people and alum and stuff like that who are entrepreneurs. And I live in Silicon Valley, so there's a lot of people who work on tech here in general. So I
Oh,
think one of the
that's
big
important.
things is like,
That's good.
you got to like find those people within your industry who you think are just kind of like key thought leaders of some kind or who've been through some of this and try to make those connections because the big thing is
All right, cool.
entrepreneurs are always willing to help entrepreneurs. Like when you if you find someone who's done something similar to you in the past and had their own company,
Yeah.
just hit them up. Honestly, like more likely than not, they're going to respond to you, like LinkedIn or whatever.
That's
They'll
cool to know.
respond to you and be
Okay.
like, yeah, I'm happy to give you some free advice, right? Like, let's hop on a phone call for 30 minutes. So you can build those
Huh.
connections, I
I
think,
never thought about doing
with all
that.
that.
Just randomly
Yeah.
just say, "Hey," because I do it. So I do it anyway. I reach out to like Tony Nagy. We did Tony Nagy interview, and she's gonna come back, and we're kind of had the collective community thing going because I keep in touch with everybody, and
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's Thank you for saying that because just randomly reaching out to an entrepreneur or just someone that I think would connect or I could connect with. I'm gonna try that. That's cool. I didn't realize that it's kind of a community too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think when you've been through the journey, in my opinion, even from the mentors and stuff that I've had, they get it. Like they know it's tough. And people,
Mm.
advice is free. Taking 30 minutes of someone's time is not that much. And so just saying, hey, can I hop on a quick call with you at some point this week and just
Oh.
get your advice? Obviously, make it worth their while. Don't come into the conversation
Oh yeah.
not knowing
Please,
what
can
you
you
want to
help
ask
me
them
so
about.
much? I need your help.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
yo,
And I've had those experiences too
everything's
where I hit
mutually
people up.
beneficial in business. It's just that's 101.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I mean is like when I say make it worth their while, I don't mean like you need to offer them something. But I've had those times where I reached out to people, I hopped in a phone call, and I didn't even know what I wanted to ask them. And it was a waste of their time, and it was a waste of my time. And that's not a good look, right? But
Oh,
I've had the
oh,
times
that's
where I've
not a
hopped
good
on the phone call and then I've been like, hey, yeah, I had like these very specific issues I'm dealing with. I just want to know if you've ever been through something like this. Can you offer me some advice? And then those are
one. Oh,
constructive
okay, okay.
conversations, and then it's like they're like, yeah, I'm glad I offered this person 30 minutes of my time. They used it up well. So that's one of the things too, is just make sure that you're not
Efficiency.
wasting their time when you actually call them up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I try not to do that now.
So there's some free advice right there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like we're
Yeah.
yeah, call it now, 877-237-1143. We're giving entrepreneurial advice. Entrepreneurial. That's a tough word.
Yeah, it's a
You know
hard
what the
word.
word I have the hardest time with, dude, and I always have, even in college radio, was is edited. Edited. It's my Boston accent, I think. I don't know.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean
just a
it's a tough
random
word.
factoid.
Edited. Yeah.
Edited, or yeah. There It's linguistics. You have to pronunciate and be neutral. And I used to be more efficient at that. And it's about efficiency, like you said, like automating tasks. I'm learning about like using methods just to be efficient because everyone's time, disagree or agree with me. Everyone's time in this deal is it's precious. It's like we don't have enough of it. You ever feel like that? And like, you know,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
you already heard me talk about lack of sleep and stuff.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's
yeah,
definitely
yeah. I
not
mean,
enough
like, just
time in
well,
general.
here's what I'm getting at, man. Efficiency, like planning. I'm learning about
Oh yeah.
planning. Do you schedule a lot? Are you more on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, you had to be a little bit of both as an entrepreneur, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure you know this too. Is
I'm
like
learning.
you got to
I'm
schedule
learning
a
that.
bit, and
Yeah,
you also got to
yeah.
be willing to do things kind of by the seat of your pants sometimes, and like really,
Absolutely.
because things
You
are
can't
never going to
miss.
go according
Yeah,
to
you
plan
can't
either.
miss it. You can't miss it.
Yeah,
If there's an opportunity, you just got to jump in. That could be it.
exactly.
It could be a
Yeah,
big one to the next one and the next one. So yeah, I get that, man. What can you
yeah.
tell
So
us? Yeah, tell us more. What do you want to tell everybody? What point can we get across for you? Want to talk about
for
drumming?
sure,
Whatever
for
you
sure.
want, dude.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for
you know,
sure. Well, and
right
I hate
on.
to do this. I probably need to get going in maybe
Got to
like
jump on
15
a
more
call
minutes.
because you're
Yeah,
scheduled and
yeah.
planned. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
smart.
so I can
We could
leave
hang all
you.
day.
Yeah, I can leave you and your listeners with some kind of, yeah, I guess final
Please,
words,
yeah,
final info
I would
about
love that.
just
I'd love
Dio and
that.
stuff, right?
Please do.
So,
Yes, go right ahead.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, one thing about me and about Dio is definitely try to be as like approachable and authentic as possible. So if you hit up deoconnect.com, you go to a pre-order button and you actually check out the Indiegogo page, you can leave comments. You can shoot us an email at info@deoconnect.com. I usually respond to those. Otherwise, it might be with my teammates. But
Personal
it's yeah,
responses.
personally, yeah, which you don't normally get from a CEO. But then again, I'm starting small anyway. So I'm always up for anyone who even just kind of needs some more free advice for things, as questions, whatever. So I
That's
just want
cool.
to put that out into the universe and say, hit me up if anyone ever has questions about this kind of stuff. You've got an email now, and you can check it all out and comment and whatever.
Put it
So
out
yeah.
there into the universe. I love that. Just spread
Oh
it.
yeah.
Spread the word. Put the vibe out there, man. This has been so fun. Thank you for joining me. I know you need to go. The founder and CEO of Dio Speakers of Dio Technology Inc. Specifically, but they have Dio Speakers. Check out the Dio Node, man. Check out this company. They're 4 out of 5 stars on betas. They're great. I hope to have you back. Thank you so much for joining me. This was fun, man. Thank you, and I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have corrected a lot of the issues that those who didn't give us 5 stars for beta testers, you know, had with our speakers. So it's going to be even better
That's
when it's actually
awesome.
rolling out into your home through with the final production unit. So just want to put that out there too.
All
So
right, so
yeah.
you're actually a 4.5. You better update that website, bro.
Yeah,
Update that
right. Yeah.
website. Cool,
Yeah,
man. Thanks again for
exactly.
joining me.
All right, for sure. Thank you, Joe.
All right, dude.
Appreciate
Let's do it
being
again
on. So
sometime.
yeah.
No, anytime, dude. Anytime. I'm gonna push you back into the green room. There he goes. There he goes. He's the man. He's the Dio man. He is. Gosh, man, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. And we met randomly, and he just taught me so many good things. He really did. Just like so many good things. It's hard. It's hard. I'll be quite honest. It's so fun, man. It's so fun. But yo, I have a survival. I have a 40-hour gig. You know, and then I'm trying to just do something special so that I don't have to do the gig anymore. I want the life. It's a different thing. I think it's different when you're working versus something that's a hobby. Sure, you can have a hobby. This is not a hobby. This is me and Dio, Blind Knowledge and Dio. We work together. We are promoting Dio. So it's real. It's a moment that made it real for me. It was like, whoa, we're at that step already. That's 6 months down the road, according to my planning. I mean, I've done it a little bit, here and there. Um, I've done a little bit of aspects of all of them, and I've done a lot of aspects of all this, man. This blind knowledge thing, digital content network, 19 podcasts, blindknowledge.com. It's great. And I've done a lot of aspects, like I said, of this before. And I've seen what works, what doesn't. And it's cool to have. It's cool to have that. I have to have that if this is going to be successful, really, right? But there are aspects that I don't know, and I'm learning. So if we could have helped someone, then I think that's cool because that helped me. I'm gonna sign off, man. I'll put my cool music on, and we're gonna get out of here. And I'm gonna fix my green screen, and I'm gonna get some caffeine, man. Well, maybe I'll lay off the caffeine. My name's Joey B. Thank you so much for joining me. Check out Blind Knowledge, blindknowledge.com. That's where we at. We drop on 6/1, June 1st, 2022. We should be there for you at blindknowledge.com. Right now, we're it's a temp website, so give us a break, all right? Yo, I'm Joey B. Check you later, man. Yo! All right.